Everyone, please continue eating, but just a heads up, we're going to start speeches in like 2 minutes. So keep eating, enjoy the food, but be aware of that.
Yeah, I think we were wanting to start like first dance at like around 7:15.
Okay. Well, I'm around, so just let me know until we decide any other time and sense of time.
Okay, we'll give you kind of a.
So we should let you know when we're ready to start that.
You know, I don't want to do anything until you're ready for us, because I need your guys too to get these tables off. So.
Right, yeah, for sure.
And the parking was not there, we're gonna push it back there, so it's no big deal. Just I'm around, so when if you think it's a different time other than 7:15, I don't want to kick anybody out.
Right, yeah. Okay, thank you, Connie.
Alright.
You look good today.
Oh, thanks, David. Dad, whenever you're ready. So, no. Yeah, you just
Is it on right now?
if you go switch up.
Okay. Now I'm gonna want to give you a little bit.
Okay, so we'll come down.
You want to come around? I think everything's gonna stand over here.
Okay, we'll come
Just
down.
so I can kind of see everybody.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
You guys all set?
Yeah.
We good? No promises. I may start crying first. Okay, everyone. I'll get started here. Okay, hello everyone. I'm TJ, Beth's dad. Jen and I would like to thank you all for coming here tonight and supporting Beth and Luke on this special day of theirs. I stand before you with a very full heart, very grateful for God's love and mercy in our lives and His providence. So, you know, we've all heard the saying that it takes a village to raise a child, right? I'm kind of seeing the village out there right now. I know every one of you here in some way has positively influenced Beth and Luke to get to this point in their lives. Let me just congratulate you on a job well done. Beth, honey, where's the time gone? You know, I came from a family of, I had 3 brothers and a sister, so it was mostly boys stuff. So at the birth of our 6th daughter, years later, I thought, okay, God, you have something you want me to learn. And I thought I was going to do most of my learning through trial and tribulation during their teenage years. At some point, I didn't know if I'd even survive, but honestly, those years were a blessing, and what I needed to do is just believe and learn to appreciate what God has given us and our family. And so, Beth, let me thank you for making it so easy to be your dad. We're so proud. I'm so proud. You're a treasure to me and our family. And just can't be more proud of the faith-filled, loving, capable young woman you are, and where you're at in your life. Your faith and your discernment of God's will for you is just, it's got you exactly where you need to be. And honestly, I'm rather glad when she was about 8 or 9, I thought her dream was she was going to be a Broadway glamour girl. So very, very thankful that we're all here today. So Mark and Meredith and extended Holcraft family, let me congratulate you on raising such a fine young man. I know from experience that's not easy to do in the world today. You've done a great job. Luke, let me officially welcome you to the Shower family. You've met most of us, been out to our family gatherings. I think you know what you're getting yourself into, so welcome. I've enjoyed getting to know you over the last year or so, and I very much admire and appreciate your strong faith and how you live it, your family values, your generosity, and just how you live your life. And I just couldn't be more proud to have you part of our family now. I think it's very telling that when you come to visit, the quality time that you give to Joe and Claire and our family, it's a special thing to see. That doesn't just happen with a lot of people. So I appreciate that very much. For many years, I've prayed that if my daughter's vocation was going to be marriage, that they meet faithful, kind young men with strong character and family values. And for the second time now, I can tell God, or say thank you, Lord, for answered prayers. So now this would probably be a good time to give you some marriage advice. Don't worry, honey, I got this. I'd love to be able to recite a list of things that would guarantee that the rest of your marriage would be like one long, happy honeymoon. But unfortunately, I can't. Can anybody else out there? I don't think there's such a list. It makes me remember some advice my dad gave me years ago when I was discerning marriage. He said, when you're choosing the person you're going to be spending the rest of your life with, you really need to make sure that you're compatible and you agree on the few big things. And he says all the many little things will just work themselves out. And of course, the big things are God, faith, and family, right? You guys have really got a good start on that. You both, I know, grew up, embraced your faith and trust in the Lord, You left home, you went on mission to bring Christ's love to others. You've brought him with you every step of the way in your relationship, from your friendship stage to your dating, to your engagement, and he's here with you and all of us today. Very admirable. You both come from very strong, close-knit families. Your relationship with your parents and your siblings is tremendous, and I think those things are going to serve you extremely well as you start a family of your own. So honestly, having only been married for several hours, I think you could go out there and give good marriage advice to many couples. Kind of in conclusion, I just can't be more proud and happy, excited for your guys' future. Just kind of overwhelmed here, so thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Thomas. I know I don't look like it, but I'm actually Luke's older brother, even though he has outweighed me by at least 50 pounds for the last 4 years. Luke has been my best friend for 21 years, 6 months, and 25 days today, and I actually mean that. I remember when Luke was like in his car seat, not old enough to be conscious of anything, and hitting him because he would bounce around and react when I would hit him. For those of you guys that actually do know me, and I mean, I guess all of you know Luke, it seems pretty weird that we would be best friends because we're like as opposite as they come. Luke used to be super introverted. He's grown more out of that now. I've been extremely extroverted my entire life. We just have really different personalities. When I was about 15 years old, which would have made Luke about 13, my dad said, I don't know if this is true, but my dad said that men speak around 6,000 to 9,000 words each day. And he looked at Luke and said, Luke, you're the reason that the bottom is closer to 6,000. Tommy, you're the reason the top is closer to 9. And that's kind of rang true for both of us. Even in our relationship, we shared a life, or not a life, we did share a life, I guess. But we shared a bedroom for my whole life till I was, I think, 17 when we lived in Ohio. And every night when we would go down to bed, I would talk, and Luke would listen and occasionally talk back. And one night, I said to Luke, okay, I've been talking for like the last 30 minutes, now it's your turn. And Luke said, no, Thomas, we have a good arrangement here. You tell me your problems, and then I listen, think about it, and tell you how to fix them. In my life, my family has moved 4 times and lived in 3 different states. There are people here from all 3 of those different states. In 2016, when we moved to Cincinnati, I was just starting high school, and Luke was starting, I think, 7th grade. And when I went into high school, my first 3 years were pretty rough, and my relationship with, not just with Luke, but with all of my siblings, really went downhill, and not because of them. The reality is I just kind of became pretty mean and self-centered, and I kind of shut them out of every aspect of my life that I could. But because we had been homeschooled my whole life, and because of the amount of times that we moved, I never really had close friends for longer than a few years at a time. And Luke was really the only one, Luke and the rest of my siblings, that were around forever. They're the only ones that I've had. And I remember being in high school and caring a lot about having friends around me that liked me, and not necessarily friends that actually cared about the person that I was becoming, the person that I was. And Luke cared a lot more about having friends that met his standard of faith and morality and holiness and all the things that actually mattered. So because of that, I knew a lot of people, and a lot of those people didn't actually care about my well-being. And Luke knew a lot fewer people, but the people that he did know were ones that actually cared about him. And I made fun of Luke for that a lot in high school. Obviously, since I'm the best man, we've come back a little bit from there. But since then, my being kind of a jerk in high school has kind of become the standard for how mean people are allowed to be in our family, where if one of us is really acting out and not being very nice, then somebody else will be like, hey, you're acting like high school Thomas, knock that off. And that's kind of a joke. It's mostly a joke, but at the same time, it is a real thing because no one liked that, including me. And about 2 years ago, that came up. I don't remember who it was, but one of the boys was just not being the greatest, and someone was like, hey, stop that. You're being like high school Thomas. And Luke was like, yeah, Thomas was mean in high school, but even though he was mean, he was still my best friend that whole time. And at the time, Luke didn't know this, but I think that's the nicest thing he's ever said to me. Because I realized that even though Luke had high standards for everybody else in his life for being friends, I was still his best friend when I treated him the worst. And there were times that I ignored him and did everything I could to separate myself from him. But he was still my best friend the whole time. And throughout all of the moves and the different communities that we've become a part of over the years, Luke has been the only one that has been constant that I have known has been there the whole time. Right after Luke graduated high school, obviously he did net. Probably a lot of you guys have met some of his teammates, some of Beth's teammates today. And I remember being at wrap-up week at the end of their year and seeing Luke with the group of friends that he had made. And they did meet his standards. And they all did want him to be holier. And the fact that Luke had waited for 18 years to meet people that did make him holier and did make him better, and it paid off, moved me so much because I hadn't tried to do that. And that's when I met Beth. When Luke and I were walking to the car to leave, I had met kind of the whole group collectively, and me and Luke and my dad were walking to the car, and as we were walking away, Luke was like pointing out which one was which to help me remember who I had met. And Beth was the last one that he pointed at. And he was like, that's Beth. I was like, oh, cool. And he goes, yeah. I hugged her like 3 times instead of once like everybody else. And he goes, and last time I hugged her for like 3 or 4 seconds. That summer, Luke worked for the Diocese of Fargo in youth ministry, and I had worked for the Diocese of Fargo the last 2 summers before, so I kind of knew the job that he was doing. And the first day he was there, I called him. I was like, hey, how's it going? He's like, good. I have to go because me and Beth are going to a meeting with Brady. And I was like, sorry, who? And he was like, oh, me and Beth. And I was like, so Beth is also working there. And Luke goes, yeah, I had no idea until like yesterday. I got to go bye. Hangs up. So as soon as I found out that Beth was also working for the Diocese of Fargo, I knew that they were going to eventually start dating. It was just a matter of when. I don't know if Luke has told Beth this or not. Probably you have. 3 months into them dating, Luke told me that he was pretty certain that he wanted to marry her. which surprised me 0% because, again, for those of you that do know Luke, once Luke decides that something is the truth, then that thing will be the truth to him forever. So once he was certain that he wanted to marry Beth, that wasn't going to change. And that aspect of Luke throughout our life has frustrated me a lot because arguing with him never goes anywhere. But, Beth, I actually think that for you that's a good thing because that means that if anybody ever tries to do anything that Luke is not okay with, he won't let it happen. And you will be protected and fought for like nobody else ever. I'm certain that Luke would die for you. And not just like lay down his life, take a bullet for you, though I'm pretty certain he would do that. I mean, like, Luke, I think, is prepared to give his life to you. And Luke giving up his preferences for another person is not any small thing, so I just need you to realize that. Beth, Luke told me a couple weeks ago that your guys' new house that you just moved into in Hillsboro, that you told him that not everything needed to be perfect and that he was okay with that. And that's not something that I've ever heard Luke say. So you've accomplished already one miracle. And there's been a lot of other ways in Luke's life that I've seen him grow in holiness that I know are because of you and that are because of the Lord through you. And now, Luke gets to be your best friend. The line in Genesis that probably all of us have heard that says, "Therefore a man shall leave his father and his mother and shall cling to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh," doesn't actually say anything about a man leaving his brothers. But I've realized in the last week that we are kind of included in that. And even though Luke will still be around and also see him, he isn't going to be there always anymore. And I'm okay with the fact that Luke gets to be your best friend now because he's a pretty awesome best friend to have. And he's a really good roommate too. For all the good that Luke has done for, I'm sure, all of you that know him, but for me too, especially, he deserves to have a wife that's as holy as you. And now at night, you get to be the one that he listens to talk now. Me and Luke have had the same secret handshake since I was 7. And nobody in the world knows the secret handshake. I think that today is going to be the last time that we ever do it because you have a new best friend now. But you're the best friend that I've ever known. And I love you. So, before I cry more, if you would all raise your glass and toast to the newly married couple who are going to be better friends for each other than anyone ever could be.
still on? Test. Okay. Whew, let me just get myself together after that one. I don't know if I can follow that. Whew. As well. That was beautiful, Thomas. Hi, everyone. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Maria, and I'm Beth's oldest sister. I'm truly honored to get to stand back next to Beth and Luke today and witness the beautiful vocation they have just entered. As her older sister, I've had the privilege of growing up and spending a lot of time with Beth, more than most siblings, because as you guys have heard tonight, we were homeschooled kindergarten through 12th. Back in the day, there were times that I didn't always see it for the blessing that it was. For example, when Beth would come into my room and want to wear my clothes without asking, practicing to be that glamour girl on Broadway, take my candy without asking permission, or sing and dance and distract me from whatever I was doing in the moment that was very important. But looking back now, I'm so grateful for those years I got to live with her and see the person that God was shaping her to be. Today, I want to highlight just 3 of her special qualities that she's exemplified through the years and continues to today. Number 1, her drama and passion for life. Number 2, a great interest in and love for people. And 3, a deep and beautiful faith. First, let's talk about her drama and passion. It was not uncommon growing up to look outside and see Beth coming up from the barn from doing chores, wearing a tattered barn jacket, clomping rubber boots, but still managing somehow to be leaping, dancing, and singing as if she was auditioning for a musical. I think the saying, "dance like nobody's watching," was inspired by her. I may or may not have captured some of these moments on video. If you want to see them, come see me later. Next, Beth has always had a deep interest in and love for getting to know people. From a young age, she has been a social butterfly and has loved to ask questions and get to know about others' lives. Often, this looked like asking whoever she encountered, whether old friend or perfect stranger at the grocery store, questions like, "Are you married? What are you doing? Why?" And many more, which often brought smiles and laughter. But as she has grown and learned her social manners, Beth still has a gift for seeing the person in front of her and making them feel known and loved by her conversations with them. I think many of you in this room can attest to that. Finally, and most importantly, Beth, you have an incredibly beautiful and solid faith. You have grown and taken our Catholic faith as your own, especially in saying yes to being a missionary after high school and taking a job in ministry for the diocese. Whew. Beth, you're an inspiration to me and others of what it looks like to strive every day to know and love Jesus more deeply. So, Beth has a flair for drama, a love for people, and especially a love for the Lord. And I've always known that the man she would marry must support and uplift these qualities in her. Luke, since the moment she started talking about you, besides how you were tall, blonde, handsome, and practically Prince Charming himself, she also shared how you love to sing and dance, be goofy, serve others, and are also a man of faith. I knew that you would be a beautiful match for my sister. Luke, you match Beth's animation and passion for life. You also make others, but especially her, feel seen, known, and loved. And most importantly, you share Beth's burning love for our Lord and desire to grow in your faith and lift her up in hers every day. I hope and pray that you both will always remain close to Jesus, who brought you together and made you one today, and who loves you more than you can imagine. My heart is so filled with joy for you, and I can't wait to see how God continues to change the world for good through your family. I love you both so much. So please raise your glasses to me, to the newlyweds, Beth and Luke. Cheers.
All right, before you guys go back to eating or finishing your food or talking your conversations, I want to thank every single one of you for being here. I know that's kind of the cliche generic thing that the groom would say to everyone, but just know I mean it from the bottom of my heart, and I say that for both of us. In the last week, I have gotten so many texts and calls from different people saying that they were praying for us. Never in my life have we had as many prayers specifically for us as we have in the last few weeks. And that we are grateful that you are here, but that specifically over everything is what we are grateful for. Your attendance is good. Your prayers are great, and we thank you for that. So I hope that you are all able to enjoy the rest of your evening and your night. And I hope and pray that Beth and I are able to help lead you to Jesus in some way, shape, or form. Thank you, guys.
Well, now that we've all lost. Test, test. All right. Well. My battery died. Test. All right, that one worked. Well, anyways, just as a quick letting y'all know, in about 7:15. Well, actually, maybe 7:30. We'll start the dance. So if you are on top of hardwood, not on top of carpet, you might have to move because we'll have to move those tables. So just if you want to migrate to another table, that would be awesome. Thank you.